Sitting in the dark, off in my room, thinking of you. A heart full of love, and there's no wind. It's got me looking kind of crazy. Well, wanna love me, boy, wanna love me, wanna love me, boy, wanna love me, boy, wanna love me, boy.
Is it possible to ignore every warning sign and still hope for a fairy tale ending? In today's INSIDE Celebs, we will talk about Tamar Braxton's whirlwind romance with Jeremy Robinson, which was filled with glaring red flags from the start, quick engagements, a history of baby mama drama, and accusations of manipulation. But Tamar chose to turn a blind eye. Now, as she faces the emotional fallout, we have to ask, was it all worth the pain? Well, let's break it down. When Tamar Braxton and Jeremy Robinson first crossed paths on the reality show Queen's Court, sparks flew almost immediately. The chemistry was undeniable, and before long, they were talking about forever. But what should have been a time to get to know each other turned into a fast track to engagement, with JR popping the question just weeks after meeting Tamar. For many, this would raise an eyebrow, especially in the high-pressure environment of reality TV, where relationships often bloom for the cameras rather than for real life. But Tamar, with her history of chaotic relationships, seemed eager to jump into love head first. Her past was no secret. 2 marriages that ended in heartache, complete with public drama and allegations that left scars. Yet, she seemed convinced that JR was different. Engaging in such a quick commitment, especially with someone she met on a reality show, should have given Tamar the jitters. Yet, she embraced the whirlwind romance, perhaps hoping that this time would be different. But as those early red flags started to pop up, it became clear to those watching that this was not the fairy tale Tamar was hoping for. However, as their relationship progressed, one of the glaring concerns was JR's complicated past. Jeremy Robinson, better known as JR, wasn't just bringing himself into the relationship. He was also bringing a history that included 5 children from 4 different women. This type of situation is rarely without its challenges, and it wasn't long before those challenges started to surface. Managing relationships with multiple baby mamas can be complex, to say the least. There are bound to be differing opinions, unresolved issues, and quite often lingering tensions. For Tamar, stepping into this scenario meant navigating a minefield where any wrong move could lead to drama. And it did. One of JR's baby mamas took to social media, making serious claims about his character. She accused him of using Tamar for publicity, hinting at a pattern where JR allegedly targeted vulnerable women. She also shared that he had a particular interest in black women, raising concerns about his true intentions in the relationship. These accusations were serious and should have been a wake-up call for anyone who was involved. Yet despite the allegations and the obvious complexities of JR's past, Tamar remained steadfast in her relationship with him. She publicly supported JR, dismissing the warnings and criticisms as mere noise. For Tamar, it seemed that love was worth the risk, even if the risk came with glaring red flags. As their relationship unfolded, the whispers of doubt turned into full-blown accusations. For Tamar, who had already been through so much public drama in her past relationships, these accusations should have been cause for concern. The idea that JR might be using her for fame, especially given her high-profile status, was a red flag that was impossible to ignore. And yet, despite the mounting evidence and growing chorus of warnings from those around her, Tamar continued to stand by JR. But this time, the relationship began on a darker tone, with fans and followers growing increasingly concerned about Tamar's well-being. The accusations of clout chasing and manipulation were part of a pattern that many feared would lead to more heartbreak for Tamar. In a move that shocked many, JR decided to announce their breakup on social media. He made it clear to everyone that he was the one who ended the relationship, stating that he needed to focus on himself and his well-being. For someone in the public eye like Tamar, this was a devastating blow, not just because of the breakup itself, but because of how it was handled. What made the situation even more heartbreaking was the fact that Tamar found out about the breakup at the same time as everyone else. JR didn't even give her the courtesy of a private conversation or even a text message. Instead, he chose to broadcast the end of their relationship to the world, leaving Tamar blindsided and deeply hurt. The timing couldn't have been worse either, as this public announcement came on the heels of Tamar's home and car being vandalized, adding to her distress. It was a clear sign that something had been wrong for a while, and yet Tamar was left to pick up the pieces in front of an audience that had seen everything unfold in real time. She had seen the red flags but decided to ignore them. One of the most striking aspects of this saga is how Tamar chose to dismiss the concerns of those closest to her. Friends, family, and even fans could see the cracks of the foundation of her relationship with JR, but Tamar had remained steadfast. She was vocal in her defense of him, refusing to let outside opinions influence her decisions. It was as if Tamar was holding on to the hope that her love could somehow overcome the glaring issues that everyone else saw so clearly. This unwavering loyalty led Tamar to ignore not just the red flags but also her own well-being. As the relationship grew more strained, Tamar seemed to double down on her commitment, perhaps believing that things would improve if she just held on a little longer. However, this decision to overlook the problems didn't lead to the fairy tale ending she may have hoped for, but instead, it set the stage for even more heartache. She took to social media where she poured out her feelings in a series of posts that revealed just how deeply she had been affected. Her words were raw, filled with pain and frustration. She spoke about the challenges she had faced, from the vandalism of her home to the heartbreak of being blindsided by someone she had trusted. For Tamar, this wasn't just another breakup, it was a deeply personal crisis that played out in front of the world. In her emotional outburst, Tamar didn't just express anger towards JR, but she also reflected on her own journey. She talked about the efforts she had made to improve herself, to heal from past wounds, and to become a better person. Yet despite all of her efforts, she found herself in the same place, hurt and heartbroken by someone who didn't treat her the way she deserved. And just when it seemed like the drama surrounding Tamar and JR's relationship couldn't get any more intense, JR decided to step back into the spotlight. Following Tamar's emotional breakdown and public outcry, JR took to social media to share his side of the story. His response, however, didn't come across as an apology or even as an attempt to make amends. Instead, it felt more like a strategic move to control the narrative and maintain his own image. His public statement was filled with claims that he ended the relationship to focus on his well-being and that there were no hard feelings between him and Tamar. He even tried to position himself as a supportive figure in Tamar's life, despite the very public nature of their split. For many, this response only added fuel to the fire, raising more questions about his true intentions and whether he was genuinely concerned about Tamar's well-being or simply just trying to save face. What made his response even more controversial was the timing. His statements came not long after Tamar had expressed her deepest vulnerabilities online, making it seem as though he was trying to shift the spotlight away from her pain back onto him. And well, fans and followers were quick to notice the lack of empathy in his words, leading to even more criticism and skepticism about his character. So there's something to ponder. After everything Tamar had gone through, do you think she'll finally take a step back and focus on herself? Or is there perhaps more drama waiting to unfold? Let us know your thoughts below, and make sure to subscribe for more intriguing stories just like this one. See you in the next one.